2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's fucking get it. So, when you gonna tell her? So why do I think slavery is not cool? For obvious reasons, of course, slavery is not cool, yada, yada, yada. I'm talking about more the philosophy of enslavement. And so we'll get into that. So my definition of slavery, as Google would say, a person who is strongly influenced and controlled by something. So number one, there has to be an influence. How strong is the influence? If the influence is 0% strong, if you know you can like out influence the other person or the other thing at hand, then there's really not much of an influence. But generally, everything in your environment, everything you do, you touch, you see, you think, you feel, there's a certain influence that influences our everyday thinking, the way we feel, the way we talk, and the way we move through life. And so there has to be that one something. There's incentives. Maybe it's money that is that something that is influencing you. Maybe it's somebody's literal physical prowess that is influencing you. You don't want to, or maybe it's their presence. You don't want to upset them, or you want to make them happy, or whatever it might be. So there has to be a strong influence. And so typically there's nothing that's absolute 0% free will or 0% 100% free will. Otherwise, on both spectrums, both extremes, it's bad. It's bad, 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 bad. Some examples of generally to closest thing to 0% free will, which is probably the worst human experiences, is forced labor. When you don't have a fucking choice to work, there's an influence. If you leave, you die. They're gonna force, I don't know, rape, forced sex. This is probably terrible. I've never been raped before, but I'm sure it's terrible. Jail, I'm sure that's terrible. You're limited in space. You don't have a choice whether you can leave the jail cell or not. Murder, you don't have a choice whether you live or not. There's 0% free will. Religious cults, you don't have a choice how to think. You have to think a certain way. And so a fact is, in 2019, there was 40 million humans in the fucking world, throughout the world, that didn't have free will. Like the basic thing. It's like breathing. It's like having freedom. Like, we're so fortunate in America. Like, what the fuck was I doing? I was fucking just jacking off and watching Netflix or something. Like something so stupid. It sucks. Like, there's 40 million. I'm sure there's even more now in 2021. And me personally, I think time is important. So if somebody were to murder me, that means they'll subtract like 50, 60 years off my life, and that's a bad no. I don't want nobody to murder me. Please, guys, don't murder me. Enslavement, a person who is strongly influenced and controlled by something. So what is that something? Life, money, love, community, etc. If you're a slave, there has to be somebody who is the control in the ownership position and the person that is being owned. For example, in the relationship between the slave owner and the slave, if you try to escape, they'll kill you. So your life is at hand. Your parents might control you or have high influence or strong influence because you wanna make them happy. So you do what they tell you, or they have money over you. Like, if you don't go to college, then I'm not going to pay for blah, 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 or whatever. Cults, obviously, so on and so forth. To be controlled by something, it must have a specific power or control over us. I think there's a lot of not just external forces that have high influence on us, but also internal forces. Things like fear, food, porn, comfort, social status, wanting to physically appear well, self-limiting beliefs, I can't, I will never, status, needing to fit in social standards and medium. There are very strong influences in our lives, whether it's coming from within or coming from without. And so to just recognize, like, yo, we're always, and just another point is the idea of freedom only refers to the people within your own community. Like how often do you really care about people outside of America, or even outside your own little small circle of, like, if they're about freedom? Like, there's a lot of people who genuinely don't have that much freedom in the world of 7-8 billion. And so idea of freedom only refers to the people within your own community. Everybody else can go suck it. No, I'm kidding. Solution: fuck me, fuck you. Who gives a fuck what others thinks? Less enslavement equals freedom. With freedom, more choice. With freedom, you get to breathe with freedom. Amen.